and he asked me to marry him, and I did. We just got married July 12th, Ashley.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That's been
and
less
they took him like he was nothing. He cannot walk at this moment. They haven't given him his medication for his heart condition, which he had exploratory surgery.
Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup.
This is Ashley with Status Coup.
On the ground.
In Philadelphia.
Flint, Michigan. East Palestine, Ohio. Please support the leading independent news outlet on the ground.
Covering what the corporate media covers up.
Hey, this is Ashley Bishop with Status Coup. I am joined by Gladys Smith, whose husband is currently detained in so-called Alligator Alcatraz, the immigration detention center in the Florida Everglades. Thank you so much for being here, Gladys. So your husband is currently detained in Alligator Alcatraz. Before we get going, can you just tell me how long he's been there for?
Thank you for your time, Ashley. And yes, my husband was actually picked up on the 23rd of July.
Okay. So you were saying before, we had talked a little bit previously. So your husband was picked up on the 23rd of July, and then 3 days later, he was brought to Alligator Alcatraz?
That is correct. He was brought in 3 days after they held him at a county jail in Tallahassee. And he was running a high fever because my husband was suffering from pneumonia.
Okay. Okay, so when they picked him up, he had pneumonia, and he was brought, almost immediately to Alligator Alcatraz. And you had reached out to us because your husband has some, sounds like severe health issues. What can you tell us about what he's currently going through in the detention center?
Definitely. My husband right now I am being told by the other inmates that are keeping me up to date with his health and what's going on with him, because he cannot walk anymore. My husband has a disease, heart condition called Wolff-Parkinson's White syndrome. He was just recently operated on, which it was given to him a exploratory heart surgery, meaning that it's under investigation at this point right now. It was complicated with pneumonia, right lung. Already the outer lining of the lung is already damaged when he was picked up. Well, apparently, without receiving his proper medication for his heart condition, zero. Since the moment he was picked up, Marco has not taken his heart condition medication again. They haven't been giving it to him. I guess it's gotten complicated between the lungs. Now he has a severe kidney failure, which the guys are telling me that he was told that because he held his pee in for so many hours that it leaked into his spinal.
Oh my God.
And that's what's causing him that he can't even walk anymore. The actual inmates are the ones who are carrying him to the bathroom whenever they can. And it's gotten to the point where Marco can't even be lifted anymore because he is kind of a heavy-set guy. And I guess not being able to walk, they have to lift him up and carry him, put him on the wheelchair whenever they decide to rush him out. He's already been rushed out to their so-called emergency clinic or wherever they take him 3 times total. One of those times he was taken under an emergency because a guard found him unresponsive. They took him to Kendall Regional. At around midnight, he was taken out and brought back in by 7:30 in the morning. And that is the last time I spoke to my husband, because ever since then, that was 2 or 3 days ago, because ever since then, he has one of the guys call me to keep me updated on his health.
Okay.
He can't walk. My husband went in walking and he cannot walk at this moment. They haven't given him his medication for his heart condition, which he had exploratory surgery 2 months ago.
I am so sorry to hear that, Gladys. So just to recap what you're saying, you haven't spoken to your husband in 2 to 3 days. You only know what's going on because other detainees are calling you at
Correct.
his behest. And so they have told you that he has now a kidney infection.
Yes.
A
Kidney failure, they called
kidney
it.
failure. Okay, kidney
Kidney
failure.
failure because of fluid from the kidneys. I don't know how that could happen, but Marco did suffer from his spinal, but he's always worked nothing. And apparently from him holding his pee in for so long, I cannot even imagine what could have made him do such a thing. What was it, that he couldn't go to the bathroom? How did he get to that point where he held his pee in for so long that a ruptured vein or something ruptured and went into his spine?
It's extremely hard to get any kind of accurate information about what's actually happening in there, which is, I think, by design. Even, immigration attorneys were having a hard time getting access to their clients in the facility initially. I'm not sure if that's better now, but it's been very difficult. And I think the majority of the information about what we know about what's actually going on inside the facility is from family members who are able to communicate with the press about what's happening to their loved ones inside.
One of the specific things that it did attracted my attention was when he mentioned, and these are contractors, these are people that have, you have from your youngest handyman to tree cutters, everybody is in there. This guy in particular, it sounded to me like he knows his construction because he mentioned OSHA. And you can hear it in the audio. He said, you could tell when you look around this tent and these cages, this was not even OSHA certified. And I said, whoa. So you actually are incarcerating, or how can we call it? What do we call it? People who are intelligent. This particular individual speaks 5 languages. Marco, my husband, he's a contractor. He's never committed a crime, does not have a criminal background, neither in the United States nor back home in Chile, where he came from. He's always been an outstanding citizen, obeyed every law that he could possibly obey because he loves this country. And still, Ashley, a couple of weeks ago when he first arrived, he said, if I were to ask to be taken to defend this country, I would. I love America. I still love America. This is what we're doing to people who are willing to step up and defend us. And this is how we're treating them, like animals. What's going on? I don't understand.
And that is one of the things that, a phrase that I feel like I've heard repeatedly now, that people feel like they're being treated like animals inside of that facility. And as you said, your husband doesn't have a criminal record. We know at this point that the majority of people in there do not have a criminal record. Yeah. So we were sold on this idea that, the administration at least tried to sell people on the idea that we would only be locking up criminals, the worst of the worst.
Exactly.
It certainly does not sound like that's actually what's happening inside of that facility.
Mm-mm. It does not. Not all of them are criminal. Not all of them that are in there. And like I asked the officer when they took Marco that morning, I rushed to where they were picking him up from. And I said, why are you taking him? He has his legal status is pending. He has a political asylum status pending as we speak. He has his work permit, social security card, driver's license. And we just recently got married. We didn't get married for the papers situation like anyone would think, but we did get married after 7 years. We went through a breakup. We made up And he asked me to marry him, and I did. We just got married July 12th, Ashley.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. That's been
And
less than a month.
they took him like he was nothing. He was crying. He was crying, asking for forgiveness if he hurt anyone. Marco has never hurt a fly. Marco's not capable of hurting anyone. And he still loves this country.
And this is what we're doing to
This is what we're doing.
who came here, I assume,
Yes.
to start a better life, to have
Yes.
more opportunities for himself, for his family, to start a new
Exactly.
family. And this is how we are treating people when they are here. And
Exactly.
you had mentioned when we first started talking, you yourself, you have a background in immigration policy.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that, just so that people understand that you also, I mean, you probably know more about the ins and outs of, immigration
Yes.
paperwork and all of that than I do.
I just became certified. I took my course from a school in Boca Raton, Florida, and I became certified. My specialty is I-589, which is the political asylum papers. I process them. I teach them their laws, what they have to go by, what is required of them. A lot of these people I help. I've helped a lot of mothers who come to me with children. I do their papers and process them for free. It's just the right thing to do. But it says it clearly. It's a political asylum. We're all entitled to apply for our political asylum as long as we do it the right way. And a lot of these people are doing it the right way. And not even that is being recognized, because once they wait their status period, which is 180 days after they have applied and processed their initial paperwork, they receive their receipt notice directly from immigration, UCIS. And after that, they wait 180 days. And if they have complied, they will receive, they're entitled to apply for their work permit. Well, they're all given a work permit, Social Security card, and they are so happy. I have never seen anyone so happy when they receive their Social Security card in their hand and their work permit approval. It's like they want to go out there and tackle whatever jobs they're given, whatever tasks. And even that is being stripped away. It's not being like Marco's situation. He's had his political asylum pending status for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
2 years. Who would have thought? Does not have a deportation letter. Never has had a deportation. Nothing. Just picked up out of the blue. And when they came, they were waiting for him outside. What triggered it? What system do they have? Was it because we got married? Was it because there's whistleblowers out there who are actually getting paid to say, hey, there's a immigrant that lives at such and such address? Is that what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Because there was no reason in Marco's case, none.
And we've been hearing reports that, the bathrooms are routinely backed up there. I unfortunately wonder if that had something to do with it, that he just didn't really have access,
Exactly.
or maybe was unable to get up. And the guards who are there, who are supposed to be caring for these people who are in their care, whether they are detainees or not, that is totally irrelevant.
Exactly.
They are supposed to be caring for them. Clearly, he is not getting that proper care. I would just wonder, do you know where the individuals who are there, who are calling you, did they say how they learned about his health issues? Is that something that they were told at the hospital, that that's what happened?
That's what they tell Marco when Marco comes back from either the clinic or that night that he came back in from Kendall Regional, that's what they
they're
had
telling
told him. The doctors told him. And the doctors did specifically say to make sure that he told the guards that he needed his heart medicine. Nothing.
Okay. And still
And
he
still
received-
nothing. As of 7:20 tonight, Marco has not received any medication for his heart condition at all.
I'm so sorry to hear that. And we had heard, so there's another person at Alligator Alcatraz who also suffered some kind of medical event, and their immigration lawyer released a statement yesterday, I want to say, that had basically said that he was also taken to Kendall Hospital and his medical records were taken from him when he came back to the facility and he was not given them back. Do you know if your husband has his own medical records from
He
being
does not. He does not, because I asked him if he could read to me the last time that I spoke to Marco, which was at around 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, 2 days ago. I asked him, can you read to me? At least try to read and tell me what they're saying. And he said, I don't have it. So I'm pretty sure he does not have his medical records either.
Okay. We have also heard, and I would wonder if anybody else in Alligator Alcatraz may have said the same thing to you, but we've been hearing that there is an outbreak of disease at Alligator Alcatraz, possibly COVID or something else that we don't know. Or have you heard the same thing?
Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, the gentleman who just sent me the audio that I sent you, he said, he specifies in there that there is an outbreak of some sort of stomach virus. They all have diarrhea, and I'm sorry to say that word, but it's all vomiting, diarrhea. They cannot get over it, and it goes from one to the other to the other. I did ask him if he had heard anything about COVID, and he says that he's pretty sure there's COVID also, but they don't know. Because there's a lot of them that are sick with the high fever, the trembling, the symptoms.
Okay. Did they tell you anything else about that? I mean, to me, I would wonder, and again, like I don't know, but I would wonder if there's some kind of, because they are living, in what sounds like not really hygienic conditions, in very, very close quarters with water that we don't actually know where their source of water is coming from. They're getting water trucked in. I would wonder if any of those things are, directly related.
Exactly. I wonder also, but he also mentioned that they were very afraid of speaking up in there, because if they were to say anything or speak up to a guard or anything, they automatically, and you could hear it when he says that, their punishment is to be taken outside and put in a box.
Can you tell us more about that? Because we have heard about that being used as a punishment. It's still a little unclear what exactly the box is referring to.
When he mentioned that, it was so fast, everything that he was trying to tell me, because you could tell that they are afraid and the time is so limited. But I will ask him again. He has to call me before the end of the night to let me know how Marco is. But it's hard to be thrown in a box for speaking up or telling them if you're complaining about a headache or if you're complaining because you're sick. What's going on, actually?
That is horrific. So what you've gathered is that even just for complaints, people are being punished for
it.
That's what you're hearing from other people.
Yes, and the way he specifically said it is they are being taken outside and thrown in a box.
Okay. And again, as far as box goes, it sounds like, no one knows the very specific details about what that means. Again, initially I had understood it as maybe an open space on the concrete where people were being handcuffed and left outside in the elements. But I mean, I've also heard from other people that the box is actually a box.
A
out.
box infested with mosquitoes, he says. And you can actually hear it in the audio of that phone conversation.
Okay. Okay. And I would want to ask about that audio. So you sent us a 6-minute long
Yes.
video just a little while ago. We haven't had a chance to translate the whole of it. It's in Spanish. It's between you and another person at Alligator Alcatraz who is reporting back to you about your husband's health conditions. Can you tell us a little bit about the audio? What are you guys talking about in that video?
Yes. In the audio, we're actually talking about my husband. The initial conversation is pertaining to my husband and his health. And I'm wondering, why is it that he's not calling me? Well, he's not calling me because he cannot walk anymore to the phone area, wherever it is. And it's very disturbing. I haven't been able to speak to him in over 2 days now, because the last time that I had spoken to Marco, he told me that the guys, the inmates, the detainees in there are the ones who are actually getting him and bringing him food. He cannot walk to the cafeteria.
Okay.
And that's what our phone conversation was actually about Marco's health and what were they doing, if anything, for him. And the detainee, Miguel Alejandro, said, we are the ones who are actually helping him. We are the ones who are caring for him, because there's nothing here, nothing, until they actually see you pass out, which he has witnessed 2 people already passing out. Then that's when they run. And even when they do run to help, they're not equipped to be able to help anyone. He says it looked like they were struggling to give someone CPR a couple of nights ago. So it's got to be chaotic in there. And he goes on and on to tell me about everything that's going on in there. The mistreatment, the mosquitoes the cages are infested with mosquitoes. And he specified, he called it cages. The cages are infested with mosquitoes. And at night, when we try to speak up and complain, we get thrown outside to the box.
I am so sorry to hear that. I am so sorry to hear that. And is there anything else that you can tell us about the conditions in there that you haven't already, that you've heard from either your husband or anybody else in there? Because right. And again, as you said, he doesn't have a criminal record. He
nothing
is just a sounds like a very upstanding guy who is just
law-abiding citizen, to be honest with you. Never. I asked the officers, and to be honest with you, Ashley, I could have sworn at one point towards the end, they started to feel bad, because I started to cry and I said, we just got married. We've been together for 7 years and I can prove everything. Why are you taking him? And one of them looked away and the other one said, because he came on his visa and he stayed. I said, well, that's why we have application I-589, political asylum. He cannot go back to his country. There are political issues that he cannot go back to his country. So that's why he applied for political asylum here.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? What is it in Chile that he was seeking asylum from?
He was seeking political asylum because in his younger years in Chile, his family had been involved with the government that was overthrown, and it's been an ongoing ordeal. And he was actually one of the first ones out of his family to be able to make it across to the United States and request political asylum.
Okay, and he has been here now for how many years?
A little over 7 years.
Okay, so he has been here for a little over 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay. What else can you tell us about your husband? While we're talking about your husband and, trying to communicate to other people that, many of the people who are being detained in Alligator Alcatraz and all of the other immigration detention centers across the country do not have a criminal record. What else can you tell us about your husband, Marco, and the things that he likes and doesn't like, so that people can maybe understand a little bit better that we are just talking about regular people like themselves?
One of the first things that he fell in love with in the United States was football. Our football, our American football. In his country, they call it football, but here we call it football, and he fell in love with it. He's a fan. We've been to the games here, college games. I mean, he's hardworking, loving. All of his friends, we have a community of friends that love him. And there's actually quite a lot of Americans who also love Marco. Everybody loves Marco. I don't know what
is his favorite football team.
His favorite the Dolphins.
The Dolphins. Okay, that makes
Dolphins. Diehard Dolphins.
Dolphins. That makes sense. Is there anything else that you would want to share about your husband before I ask some more questions about
the
facility? Okay.
It makes me want to cry when I talk about Marco.
I am so sorry. I can only imagine, just first off, being separated from your spouse so soon after your wedding, and also, with the added knowledge of what he's going through there. And, I would imagine, and I'm not trying to make you feel any worse, of course, but I would imagine that there is a feeling of helplessness because you can't be there. You can't help.
No one to turn to. No one wants to even listen, hear what's going on. It's like they don't see it. They don't believe it. Out of sight, out of mind. That's why they were put in the middle of the Everglades. Out of sight, out of mind. And if it wasn't for people like you and your company, I came across you guys a couple of days ago, and I could not believe when Jordan responded to me in less than 1 hour.
I am really glad. I appreciate you reaching out to us. This is an extremely horrifying story to be covering. The conditions inside the facility, and that it's happening here. The Jordan and I were talking about this on air, I think yesterday, and comparing, what we're hearing to like Guantanamo Bay, but we're talking about a facility here in Florida. And I'm not trying to say that, this is somehow worse. It's all horrific. But if there is an idea that something like that wouldn't happen here, we would do it to other people, overseas, but we wouldn't do it to our own people here. And clearly that is not true now, and hasn't ever truly been true.
Ashley, I really don't know where we're headed to, but every time I hear Trump lately here talking, remember that movie, The Purge?
Yes.
It's scary. It's really scary, but that's all I can think about. This is the beginning of something very, very evil with this president. This is only the beginning, and if we don't waken up and realize what's really going on, we're in for a big surprise, all of us.
Yeah, I think that people who are in support of this, in support of these immigration policies, in support of these immigration detention centers, do not realize that we will all be next in line, right? There will not be a stop to this. Just because there is a group that is being othered and targeted right now doesn't mean that we aren't next on the list.
Exactly.
For people who speak out politically and have, an additional position to the administration, or say something that the administration doesn't like, don't think that this won't extend to you soon enough. And they're trying to do more of them. And like you said, this is something that we all need to be concerned about. We should be concerned about it just for the sake of our shared humanity. There are people in there who do not deserve to be treated that way. Whatever you think of that is totally irrelevant. People are being treated in ways that are extraordinarily inhumane. And again, many of those people do not have criminal records. Even if they did, that is irrelevant.
Exactly.
And if you don't care about it because of that, then you should care, because there is no stop to this, right? There's no end of who they will put in, and there is a lot of money to be made on permanently detaining people for various reasons. So I think everyone should be concerned for, that whole host of things.
Exactly. There was something else I can't remember right now, but I will stay in contact with you, Ashley, as I get more audios when they do call me. I will start gathering up more information for you, and please help me. Help me, Ashley. Help me do whatever I can.
We will do whatever we can to help you.
Thank
and please do keep in touch with us.
I will.
You have as you're getting it. And we will be sure to air whatever you're sending, so that people know what's going on inside of the detention center, inside of Alligator Alcatraz. I sincerely hope that when you talk to your husband tonight, that you will actually be able to speak with him. Are you expecting to speak with him or his friend?
With him, if he can actually, they were trying to get him to a small chair or something so that they can actually sit him down by the phone and he can actually speak to me. But I don't know if that'll really happen or not. At this point, Marco cannot even walk, and he went in walking.
And this was not that long ago either. I mean,
it's not that long ago.
July
he was
26th.
he was just taken in on the 23rd of July. And right now he can't walk. He hasn't been able to walk in 2 or 3 days at least now.
One of the things, before I let you go, one of the things that you did mention, and you've kind of mentioned indirectly since we've been talking, is that there is a support network of, people in Alligator Alcatraz that has kind of sprung up to help everybody. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because that is one thing that, one, I don't know, I hesitate to even say something like silver lining that's come out of this, because it's not, nobody should be there to begin with. But I am heartened to hear that your husband at least has a support network of people that are caring for each other. And it sounds like that's what's happening in there. There is camaraderie.
Yes, Ashley. The actual detainees that are there with them, they care for each other. They see not just Marco alone, because Marco's not the only one that's sick in there. There's quite a few of them, a lot of them, and they take care of each other. The healthier ones are actually caring and making sure that the ones who cannot go to the cafeteria, who cannot go get food, they bring back food for them. And they're caring and they're pending. They'll wake them up like it happened with Marco. Marco was unresponsive, and one of the guys, and he started to yell out. And that's when the guards came running. That was the first night when they took him to Kendall Regional.
And just, I'm sorry, one quick question. I don't want to derail you too much, but while you're mentioning that, I would want to ask, did they let you know when your husband had a...
Never.
So they did not tell you that he went to the hospital?
Nothing.
So you only heard that through his friends?
The date, yes. Because Marco has given my phone number out to a couple of them because of his heart condition. And he keeps on telling them, whenever he makes a friend, please, if anything happens to me, let my wife know. Tell her.
Okay. I'm so sorry. That is heartbreaking. Is there anything else that you would want people to know about anything that's going on in there, but before I let you go?
No, Ashley, at this time, I think we've covered it all. And like I said, I will keep you posted. I will be down there this weekend. I'm coming down to Alcatraz. And even if to stand out there and just see where he is.
I am so sorry. We will do whatever we can to make sure that people know what's happening inside the facility, so that we can hopefully bring attention to this and help your husband so that he can get his medication at the very least, and hopefully
yes, thank you so much, Ash.
And reunited with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gladys. Appreciate you speaking with us. We'll talk soon.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.